Good morning. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Walton County Board of Commissioners for Monday, July 21st. First item on the agenda is review the minutes from July 7th. Any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from July 7th.
I'll second that.
Then moved and seconded that we accept the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passed. Under new business, we got Kevin Smith, Salamone River Project. Is Kevin here? We'll come back and get you in. We got Farmer Group, ditch spraying, crop losses. So you have a spokesman or?
That'd be me. We gotta do anything special here?
No, just, you can come up to one of these chairs, so it's, you're in the microphone, just kind of tell us what your concerns are, what brought you here today, and.
My name is Brian Rank, and we're here today to talk about side ditch or easement right of way spraying, at least in the county, our county here. First and foremost,
Put it on your computer. I put it on mine, so I don't have to sit out there for an hour. But I can put it on yours.
Well, I just want to see
as well.
Online here.
so first and foremost, we started noticing some cupping in the beans, 2, 3, 4 rows into the fields, 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe 5. Started asking some questions. Anyway, at any rate, the county highway department has been spraying road signs for various invasive species, for our understanding. The chemicals that are being used are harmful to soybeans. The chemicals that are being used per Dalton's, Brad being the owner there that we spoke with, have a 3-year setback once in a soybean field for soybeans. So our concern is that we have a problem. It's the second year in a row that we've seen the damage. First time we really got together and actually talked about it. I don't know who the superintendent is now. We did reach out per Cole Wyatt to Brad at Dalton's. He was extremely helpful. He came out, he looked, he admitted that yes, the damage is coming from the chemicals they applied. The rain carried those chemicals out into the field and did some more damage. Don't know the extent of the damage. And you're sure welcome to cut me off at any point and ask a question if you need to. So,
Good.
long story short, our goal today is to ask you guys if we can either halt progress on this side ditch spraying and or stop it completely where not needed. Okay. My understanding is there's some bridge and abutment, some areas that need to be sprayed because you can't mow them or even get to them maybe by foot or by chainsaw or whatever that looks like. So first priority is stop damaging the crops. Okay. Brad doesn't work for us directly. The superintendent doesn't work for us directly. Obviously you guys do, and that's why we're here out of respect for you. Okay. So you carry that on down the chain, however that needs to be. I told Brad we weren't necessarily looking for compensation, but stop damaging soybeans. At the end of the day, that's what we're after. We did notice that it is still in the budget to do all 700 miles next year, potentially at $135,000. That's of concern to us also. So our second priority then is to discuss why we're spraying side ditches that don't need to be sprayed, such as side ditches that are mowed with lawnmowers and or farmers, bat wings, side ditches that are maintained to an appropriate level or some kind of good standard by the county. Why are we spending money spraying those areas regardless of the damage? So those are the 2 priorities we're here to discuss today with you guys. And again, we're trying to keep it on a discussion level. We're not here to beat anybody up, just here. I think that the spraying priority was done under good intent. Okay, I'm not sure though that the follow-up or the inspection to what we expect as a county has been done adequately. So we have areas that are sprayed that aren't completely killed or put back. We still have limbs growing out on the roads, and we have dead beans. So we just need to narrow that gap, and we're here to ask you how we can do that.
Is Brad here or Representative Dalton that wishes to kind of tell us what your operation or what your plan is and what we can do to.
Sure. Brad Bollinger, I'm the owner of the Daltons. I don't have a lot of prep for this because I found out pretty late yesterday that this was happening, but I did want to be here. Brian, it's nice to meet you in
Nice to
person.
meet
I
you.
know I've met a couple of the other guys in here. We've been doing herbicide spraying on roadsides for 50 years. It's not something that's new to us. It is fairly new to Wabash County, at least the roadside program. We've done work for the surveyor's office for a number of years. The herbicides we use, again, are herbicides that have been used on roadsides for 25 years. They can have effect on soybeans. And it looks like some of the areas that I've seen, we had some movement of the product. As I told, I think Cliff and Tim's who I went out and looked with. And that can happen with heavy rain. And, you know, we're also trying to do our best to give the customers the job they're paying for, i.e. controlled broadleaves and woody species along the right of way, without damaging beans and anything else. And sometimes that's a tricky balance. I don't know that I'm here today to do much other than listen and let everybody know that I'm here. You know, when I've gotten a phone call, I try to respond very quickly. And with respect, we're not perfect by any stretch. And you know, the farmer group that are represented here have all been spraying most of their careers as well. And I'm guessing their sprays aren't perfect either. So that's kind of my statement for now. And I'm going to sit down and listen unless somebody's got specific questions for me. And again, I've got pretty good support, really good support from my chemical suppliers and manufacturers, but haven't been able to talk to them about this meeting happening given that I found out yesterday on a Sunday evening.
Is Cole still here?
Yeah.
Do you have any statements you want to make, Cole, as far as where we are in that process? Are we done spraying for this year? We got another spray coming, or?
I was going, I believe you have done what you had.
Yeah,
They're done for the season or for the year.
Okay. We're in the process. We did enter some interviews last week. So as soon as we get a person in place out there, I think we could meet with them. Maybe Brad may want to be part of that conversation. And kind of see where we are, what we need to do. And by all means, if between now and then, which I hope maybe next week, that we can have a superintendent hired. We can discuss that with him, because that'll be one of the new things that he'll have to oversee. So we certainly appreciate your concern, and we'll meet as soon as we get somebody in place out there. We'll meet with them and see what we can do. Or is there anybody else that wishes to make a comment or statement?
I would just like to say, farmers could not do to each other what the county highway is doing to us. The state chemists would be out here busting our chops. The co-op could not do what is being done to the farmers, or they would have some pretty substantial penalties by the state chemist. I'll just leave it at that.
Anybody else wish to make a statement or comment? If not, we'll take that under advisement and move as quickly as we can on that.
So the 2 points duly noted.
Okay,
So I'm asking
Yeah.
a question that one, stop damaging crops. That's first priority. Second priority then is take a look at what we're spraying. It doesn't need to be sprayed. Let's don't spend the money on it. And so those are the two
Yeah.
main priorities we're after.
And with us being done this season, we can
Yeah.
definitely look at those 2 points for sure.
Okay, so then at what point, once you hire a superintendent, get through that process, what point do you revise that SOP, for example, on what we're doing? What point can we get follow-up to know what your reply is to that?
I would say
Pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly,
Once we get
yeah.
that person in place, for
So
sure.
a couple weeks, couple months?
I would say a month.
Okay.
I think, because whoever we hire is gonna have to give a couple of weeks to their job,
Sure,
so to get them here, I don't wanna do it day one,
I understand.
but maybe day 5. So,
Is that something we need to come back to the meeting for the follow-up, or?
yeah, we can after we get in
we
place.
can, or we can send out an email if you signed in out there, we'll have your contact information. If there are any other statements or comments, we'll move on. Appreciate your attendance this morning. Feel free to stay or feel free to leave, whichever works for you. Is Kevin Smith here? Okay, come up to microphone there when I speak.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I'm late, by the way.
That's all right.
My name's Kevin Smith, obviously. I am the owner of Rustic River Outfitters in Mount Etna. I also own Builders Gallery Incorporated. We've been a part of the Eagles Theater, Wabash Landings. So I'm known in the community. But what I'm looking for is the county's endorsement on converting Salamone. Converting the Salamone Forest into the Salamone State Park. And if you look at, and there's 3 items I'm shooting for. And the first one would be to encourage the state park over the state forest. Right now, we're looking at about 600,000 people visit the state forest in this area a year. If we can increase that 10% by doing these 3 simple steps, one's converting the forest into the state park. Also reopening Lost Bridge East will give us more campsites in the area, about 180. That'll bring about $2 million into the area just by doing that. And minimizing the water, which would be the hardest one of all of them. Instead of draining the reservoir completely dry every year, we're asking for maybe leaving it at 10 foot. So the fishing stays up, the water levels are more productive for fish. And by doing this, if you look at the bottom there, in 5 years, we can, if we just increase tourism by 10% in 5 years, we can up the revenue to $56 million in this area, and Huntington County also. So I'm looking for the county's endorsements to get this moved through. I've been working on it for several years. If you look at the second page, it'll show you how many visitors are in the area. You look at Brookville, the very first one, we could be that pretty easy. And what I'm talking about, this Salamone State Forest over the Salamone State Park, it would just be what's circled there in red, which is the Salamone Forest. It's not the Salamone Lake, it's the Salamone Forest. We had some confusion in Huntington County. They thought it was a whole Salamone reservoir area, and it is not. It's just a state park or state forest. And I'll give you, we've already got several endorsements. I'll give you some samples of them. Out of Huntington County, there's more to come. And this is kind of what we're looking for, something like this. I've been working with the governor's office, been working with a lot of local people. I'm pretty sure we can get this all done, and it can boost the economy with tourism in this Huntington County and Wabash County tremendously. So I'm not asking for any money or anything, I'm just asking for a letter of endorsement.
I assume that you've been in contact or had visits with IDM and DNR,
Many times.
and they're on board with changing this.
That's part of getting this together. We have to work as a group to get this done. If we don't have Huntington County, we don't have Wabash community leaders involved in this, it won't happen.
How does this change? Or does it give? Does it give us restrictions? I wanna see the pros and cons on how this affects that status.
The biggest thing, when you transfer it to a state park, the state will actually, in the future, will maybe put lodging in there, which would bring more people in. Also, the federal dollars come to the area to help support the state park. We don't have any state parks anywhere close to here.
Does
except
it give us restrictions of how we get to use that property currently?
Not much
then?
different. The biggest restriction would be, they normally do not allow timber cutting in state parks. I said normally, some state parks, they still allow it in, and that would be part of the negotiation fees here. Because my other company is an architectural millwork company. We rely on hardwood lumber to keep that company going. I did a Senate testimony down at the State House a couple of years ago, and I'm for the state forest. So I had my buyers that I buy lumber off of, and then I also have the recreation side, so I'm kind of in the middle of it, but I understand both, we need both. And if you visit with Mike Braun, you'll find out where he lives, it's the same thing. I've been to his house, he has the same vision that I do. He has about 1,200 acres there that he manages the forest, but he loves the forest. And all I'm asking for is about 856 acres here in the state forest to become a state park. And it becomes like it was back in the 70s. And I'm sure if you lived around here in the 70s, you knew the Salamoy Reservoir was a busy area. We had a lot of small entrepreneur shops around. We need to get that back. LeGros would benefit the most because it would be the gateway to the Salamoy State Forest or Park. So Wabash County is the big winner, but Huntington County will benefit also.
Dave, you had a question?
I've been in contact with the Corps of Engineers.
Yes, that's gonna be the toughest one. Yeah, but with who we have in office in Indiana, he's on the state and federal side, so he's been a federal senator. He knows how to get it to that next level.
And I know when you mentioned the water levels in the lake, and that's controlled by the Corps of Engineers, and I haven't seen the map, so I don't know what area of land that you're talking about, but a lot of that land was taken when the dam was built and is owned by the Corps of Engineers, at least to the DNR.
My great grandparents lost their entire farm, so
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
And there's 3 reservoirs in Indiana, they drain 25 foot.
Exactly. Which is part of. the
And if you look at
flood control
if you look at Brookville,
for.
they lower it to 4 foot. Well, take 6 inches away from them and give us a little bit more. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not disagreeing, I'm just trying to make sure that the commissioners understand that part of this land is actually owned by the Corps of Engineers, at least to the DNR.
Yes,
So
it
I'm
is.
not sure the DNR can actually change land they don't own. And I have no idea, I haven't seen the map, I don't know.
The state forest is owned by the state.
Okay,
The rest of the reservoir area is owned by the Army Corps.
Okay.
And that's the one they lease out of, but the state forest itself is owned by the state.
thank you.
So,
Any other questions or comments? Yes, in the back.
Hi, I'm Amanda Smith. I'm the property manager for Salamonia River State Forest. This idea was brought up to the DNR about, in 2021, and it was decided against changing us into a state park. They did not support it, and they still don't. The state forest property is owned by the state of Indiana. The Salamonia Lake State Park property, which is managed by Ronnie Heilman out of Lost Bridge West, and they also manage Lost Bridge East, is considered a state park now, but it is run by the Division of State Parks and Reservoirs. So that is federally owned ground that is leased to the DNR for recreational purposes. So, going to a state park would cut out a lot of the hunting on our state forest, a lot of the mushroom hunting on our state forest, which is a lot of people that come to the area. And it would change some of the recreational use possibly. They're still working on putting a lodge into Potato Creek. So I personally don't see them putting a lodge in at Salamone River State Forest in the future, just because of the cost that Potato Creek has turned out to be, so.
And this is my view on that. Saying you can't mushroom hunt on a state forest or a state park, go to Brown County, you can mushroom hunt all day long. You can go down there on horseback ride, and there's certain areas you can absolutely hunt. So some of this rhetoric that's out there is false. And I invite you to look into it and find out. But if the private sector steps in like Pirates Cove, they lease land off the DNR and the Army Corps. This is what I'm talking about. Private sector needs to step up. They need to lease property, maybe Lost Bridge East, off the government, off of Indiana. And same with in the forest, we bring the private sector in and we let the government manage their end of it, we manage our end of it. It makes a whole lot of sense, mostly when everybody's bowing down to all the grants, everybody wants a grant, and we're losing entrepreneurship because of all these crazy grants. Grants is a bonus, it's not a way to start a business. And I am a firm believer that the entrepreneurship can take this state forest into a state park. We can grow back as a community, Huntington and Wabash together, and actually have something we're proud of. And we bring in a lot of revenue for the area. We don't get a lot of factories around here. Huntington County is going backwards. They have been for years. Wabash is doing a phenomenal job. It's cool to see. We need more of it. But we need that high-end money coming in that can provide stability around the counties so that our kids decide to stay here instead of moving away and taking everything we've trained them and going to other states and helping them process. So I invite you to look into it because what I've detailed, there's a video on YouTube you're welcome to look at. I've tried to put it right up front, realistic, common sense, a way that private sector can make money and also the county can make money.
Other questions or comments? No, I would suggest that we take it under advisement, do a little research and,
I appreciate it.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Rick Anderson from Verigy.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Ricky Anderson with Verigy. Normally when half the room clears out, it's because I've already talked, so they cleared before I even got here. So anyway, yeah, Ricky Anderson with Verigy. Cheryl, nice to see you again. I had a nice conversation with Cheryl. I got messed up on your meeting times a couple of weeks ago. So, but anyway, reason for me being here, I've left a handout with you all. It's got some blue on the front of it. So we, yeah, exactly. The reason for me being here is we help counties, cities, anything public with guaranteed savings projects. If you look on the front page there, it looks at the things that we typically try to impact in your buildings. So we're looking at any facilities, buildings. I also want to touch on the utility situation real quick. We're a regulated utility state. Our utility situation is not very good. You guys aren't, nobody said Duke employee. I always have to, before I disparage the utility companies. The average rate increase over the past 15 years has been 6%, probably over the past 3 to 5, it's been more in the 15 to 20 range. You probably noticed this at home or if you pay bills at a business. we're a regulated utility state and it's gonna be that way for quite a while. So what we really try to help you all do is cut your utility costs, but also upgrade your infrastructure. So the first page that I gave you there really looked at, talks about what we do on these projects. There's guaranteed savings legislation in Indiana, IC-36-1-12.5. Allows you guys to go out and do these projects via an RFQ or an RFP. The second part of the handout was something called the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed a couple of years ago. What that really impacts is solar, geothermal and batteries. So if you guys would do a project, you would potentially get back a 30% check from the federal government on your investment. The problem is the solar thing's probably going away here in about 6 months, but the geothermal opportunity is going to be around till 32 probably. So any of you that have done geothermal, maybe your home or at a business, it's a great way to heat and cool your buildings and save quite a bit of money. I also gave you a couple of case histories on a couple of projects that we've done. You guys might know the folks in Dearborn County and also the folks in Hamilton County. These are a couple of projects that we've done. We're also redoing Ripley County's courthouse, second oldest courthouse in the state. We're doing a total rehab of that courthouse and jail for them as well. We're also going to be advertising with the city of Wabash on a solar project for their wastewater and also fire stations and their police stations. So that advertising will be out here soon. And Mayor Long, we've been working on that for a year and a half to 2 years. So Mayor Long would speak very highly, I think, of our efforts. So why I'm here today is we do these assessments. So we would do a assessment for the county at no cost. We would come back with recommendations and then you guys can either move forward with a project or decide not to do anything. But it's typically not a bad way to really get a barometer of where you are with your buildings and your utility usage and potentially look at a project moving forward.
Questions or comments for Rick? Okay, thank you very much. We'll
Under advisement.
under.
My card's on there if you have any questions. Again, I'll be around working on the city's project here for the next month or so. So if you guys have any questions or whatever else, but again, we'd love to do an assessment for you. All that would take would just be a motion from you guys to move forward with that. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Rich Mofield, Health First, Indiana.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a contract renewal with the North Manchester Fitness and Aquatics Center with using Health First Indiana funding for $1,800. That is for the core service delivery of chronic disease prevention. It's for programming to get people in the door. So this is one of the first contracts we got in last year with Health First Indiana. This is a renewal. They asked for $5,000 last year and they're asking for $1,800 this year. So there's reporting requirements back to the health department and then is forwarded to the state.
Is this a 1 year?
Yeah. So Mark's reviewed it and the health board has approved their request and the final step is because it's Health First Indiana money, I have to come before the commissioners for final approval.
Questions for Rick? Rich, I'm sorry.
No, I make a motion to accept the $1,800 to the North Manchester Parks and Recreation Department.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the Health First Indiana money for down in North Manchester's Park and Recreation. Any other questions before we vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Marcia Hafner is a recommendation for approval to the Rowan Public Library Board of Trustees.
Make a motion to appoint Marcia Hafner to Rowan.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve Marcia Hadner as an appointment to the Rowan Public Library Board of Trustees. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, saying, motion passed. We have a request from the Plan Commission for the appointment of Chris Hickman to the Plan Commission. He will be finishing the term of Christian Rosine that was on there. And I think that's up at the end of 25, I believe.
Make a motion to accept the appointment of Chris Hickman to the Planning Commission to replace Christian Rosine.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the appointment of Chris Hickman to the Plan Commission to finish filling out that term. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same. Motion passed. Under Department Reports, County Highway,
I have nothing to share this morning.
County Sheriff,
I do have a monthly report from June, if you would like to hear it, or I can email it, or however you'd like me to go about that.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I was unable to make the first meeting of the month due to another commitment on the 7th earlier this month, so I do have those numbers. These are again, monthly averages from the month of June for Wabash County Jail. Our total prisoner count was 120, females 37, males 72. Number of prisoners booked into jail during that time, 78. Average number of bookings per month up to this point in the year, 78. Level 6 sentenced females, 3. Level 6 felony sentenced males were 5. We did 2 prisoner transports. Males transported to IDOC and Indiana Department of Corrections were 9, and 2 females. We collected DNA from 36 arrested felons. We did 1 set of misdemeanor fingerprints as ordered by the court. And those are those numbers. Do we have any questions?
where are we as far as jail staffing?
So we have in the last probably month and a half to 2 months, we hired approximately 10 jail officers. So we're hovering, we are where we should be without the additional positions that we had with last year. So we're back up around 25 total jail staff, I believe. With those additional 9 positions we added from last year, we should be able to get up to 34, but that's a work in progress. So, and a lot of newer, very new, very young folks. So getting them in and getting them acclimated and properly trained, and it's a process. So, but numbers are
around.
well, so far, it's been a month and a half, but so far, so good.
What's the target number that we?
I mean, we would love to have 34 jail staff consistently. So like, again, we're working on it. We're interviewing quite frequently and trying to get folks in there, so.
As soon as we can get some inmates from out of county, I know the
Well,
taxpayers would appreciate
yeah,
it.
as soon as we get staff comfortable enough to deal with another 30 or 40 inmates, we will do that, so.
Okay.
Do you wanna? I'd just like to, would you like to touch on the opioid money that we're spending, the training that you're doing out there? I've heard good things.
So yeah, that program's in its infancy essentially. It's what's called a JCAP program. It's a jail chemical addictions program. There are a handful of jails around the state who've already initiated this program. And we toured some facilities last year, including Allen County, I believe Kosciuszko. But the council was generous enough to allow us at least a trial position of a person to run that program. I think it's roughly a 2-year trial. And we hired a lady by the name of Melissa Campbell. She had prior experience in this field. She's also a former recovered addict. She has a very amazing story as far as her life and escaping addiction and some tough relationships she'd had in her life. But she had previously worked at Blackford County Jail in a somewhat similar program. And we interviewed her, one of several other people, and she was just, we kind of knew immediately she's gonna be a good fit for it. So we got her hired in. She's currently developing that program. She's personally job shadowed at a few of the other facilities that run this program. And essentially, it's a 16-week program to get people on track, get them clean and sober and start their recovery process while they're in jail. The objective also is to get other local entities within the community to buy in and be part of the program. And that way, once those folks graduate, and hopefully, like I said, they're committed to being clean and sober, when they get out, then they have resources they can go to, whether it be Waypoint with the Women's Home or New Beginnings or job opportunities locally. And we hope also to get during that time, like again, local entities that where they can build potentially some type of specific job skill set, if we can get buy-in, or at minimum, help them develop resumes, help them do mock job interviews, whatever it may be, to get these folks back into the community, to be good moms and dads at home, and to get them in our local workforce. So it's a pretty awesome program. Again, it's just starting and we're developing it, but we're hoping to get it going, and I think it can have a very legitimate and positive impact.
Do you have participants already or?
I don't believe we've started yet.
Okay,
Like I said,
it's not, okay.
yeah, it's taking development to get every other entities on board and get it rolling. Again, it's a 16-week program, and we do. Ultimately, it's for folks who truly want to better themselves and to start that journey as well. So they will turn in applications, and we will review those, and we'll pick those folks we feel are really going to be dedicated to it. And they have to, even once they start, there are certain parameters they have to meet as they go in order to remain in the program. So that's the
Any
program.
other questions for Tyler? Okay, thank you, Tyler. County attorney, county coordinator, HR director.
Yes. Well. I received a notice from our group health insurance. They had, when they submitted our plans to their attorneys had changed some of the language that they wanted included into our plan. It's mainly for dialysis. Once I got the plan document back from them, I've sent it to Mark, explained it to Mark, and Mark has reviewed it, he approved it. So I just need a signature for the updated one. So. I don't think you need to approve it because you already approved it, or do they need to approve it again? It's not significant. Yeah, I mean.
I'm not concerned if it's not a very significant change.
It's big.
It probably didn't change anything to the cost to the county.
It didn't,
Then
no, it was
You're
just
probably fine to. go
different
as is.
verbiage.
It was only about dialysis.
Yeah, it's strictly about dialysis. It's, the majority of it was on page 12. There's something on page 5, page 8, page 12, 13, 14, and 26, I believe.
No, I don't think it materially changes it, so you've already approved the same document, so.
And Mark had, I emailed Mark, so Mark reviewed
I'd
it.
say go ahead and do it. Sign based on prior approval.
Just sign,
I think the fact we've already
done it.
done it,
You just need to sign it.
yeah.
Okay, then the next thing that I have is, our phone system has been trying to die for several years. Back in 2024, I believe, came to the commissioners, it might have been 23. But anyways, came to the commissioners, I had gotten, quotes at that time for changing our whole phone system out to go to, instead of a phone line, more to a fiber optic or internet-based phone system. And at that time, we had gone with MetroNet. Since then, MetroNet has, they have had several contractors in here to see about running new wires, and it is not a feasible solution for MetroNet. So, needless to say, our phone systems have not been changed. We've been dealing with them for quite a while. Mark has been in contact with MetroNet. Did get word from them last week that they are from MetroNet, not from Mark, that they're going to ignore that contract. No money had switched hands. We haven't paid them for anything. They haven't done any work. So, with that being said, last week our phone motherboard on our phone system is now beeping, slowly dying. So I went out and I got two quotes. One is from Level 365. The cost of that one-time cost is $8,839. And then going forward, there would also be a monthly cost of $2,014. This is internet-based. It would be for new phones and everything. It would probably take approximately about 6 weeks to get this up and running. The second quote that I got is from ESI, which is currently our phone system that we currently use. A one-time cost of $2,488 with a monthly payment of $966.70. That amount is good for 6 months. With both of these, it's internet based, so unfortunately, if the internet goes down, so does our phone system, but our internet goes down the majority of the time, we're all down anyways. I forgot where I was going with it. So anyways, ESI is who I would recommend going with. Their cost is their time frame is approximately about 4 weeks until we would have new phones and up and running. Mark has not reviewed either one of these contracts because I wanted to wait and see which contract he wanted to go with before I sent it to him, instead of spending time on one that we're not looking at.
So if we get it approved under advisement of Mark, looking at it, do you think they could get it done in 4 weeks, or when time frame they can get here to start?
They can get it done within 4 weeks.
Okay.
Also, this will do away with, both of these contracts would do away with our Frontier bill. I did not have an opportunity to pull that bill to see what it was, but I went back to my paperwork from a year and a half ago. And our Frontier bills were approximately $1,209 per month. So I'm assuming it didn't go down, that anything, it probably went higher, so we would be doing away with that Frontier bill. So this would actually, the ESI would be the better way to go currently.
Have we budgeted for that in 25 or?
We typically have a line item for phone. I do not know where it's at though. I mean, I don't know if has any money been tapped out of it. Is that 5,000? Eight?
Is there a service contract included in this? And is there a term for the amount per month? Is it like a 3-year deal we're paying?
It would be $966.70 per month for 5 years, for 6
5 years.
months.
Okay, so that's the term. Now, does that include any service calls? I mean, if something happens, I mean, is there a warranty?
It's all internet based.
Okay,
So if there's something physical with the phone that needs to happen, then that would go back with our Intersect IT agreement that we have with Intersect. But the phone, since it's all internet based, it's basically either gonna be the phone or the internet.
Right.
So, the phones, currently, the way that this is set up for this 60 days, the phones are free. So we would not.
So we're
have to
getting
pay
all
for
new
the
phones.
We get all new, brand new phones.
Okay.
Yes.
I would suggest we go with EFI.
I make a motion to accept the ESI approved by Mark, pending Mark's approval.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the quote from EFI, subject to Mark's approval. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
County auditor.
Of your accounts payable claims and allowances for dockets ending 7/14 and 7/21 for your review and approval. I think that was the stopped. Just stand right there.
So moved.
Well, I make a motion to accept the accounts payable claims and docket ending in 7/14 and 7/21.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve accounts payable claims and allowances for docket ending 7/14 and 7/21. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same. Motion passed.
On your payroll claims allowances, including withholdings for your pay period ending 7/5 for review and approval.
Motion to approve the payroll claims and allowances and withholdings for pay period of 7/5.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the payroll claims and allowances, including withholding for the pay period ending 7/5. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion passed.
I have the monthly lit payment for July and to the other taxing units in the amount of $1,431,323.76 for your approval.
Make a motion to accept the lit July monthly distribution, 1.4 million.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the lit monthly distribution, $1,431,322.76 to the other taxing unit. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same. Motion passed. You don't have any old business? Is there any ADA or Title VI concerns that need to be addressed? Yes, Mr. Griffin.
I was here in June and made the commissioners aware of the signage issue around the courthouse. I believe it was taken under advisement, and I know that we have a sign department at the county highway. I wondered if there was any kind of an update on improving the signage around here, directing citizens to where handicap parking is, where veteran service officer parking is. Like I pointed out in June, there was one sign out on the sidewalk this tall, but as soon as somebody parked next to it, you couldn't see it. So I was just kind of wondering if you had an update or where we're at with improving the signage around the courthouse.
I'll talk on this. Dave, I believe we are kind of, because of the health department going down to the old jail, I think we're kind of holding off on a little bit of that so that we don't change it and then have to change it again. So that will be coming soon, but not yet.
Thank you.
I believe that's what our discussion's been.
Other questions or comments? Let the record reflect that what Mr. Turchliner said as far as ADA and Title VI. We've got some review items are up here. Shelley will have them posted on the website. Any other statements or comments need to brief out before the commissioner? Questions from the public? If not, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you for your participation this morning.